The war between Russia and Ukraine may be in its final moments, but is there a new war brewing between President Trump, Vice President Vance, and Vladimir Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, in the Oval Office? It was a wild day. Congresswoman Victoria Spartz is the only Ukrainian-born member of the United States Congress. She joins me at the top of the show. President Trump's economic agenda hangs in the balance as Congress works to make tax cuts permanent and cut spending. We've got renowned economist Stephen Moore with us to tell us how it's going. Plus, Rumble and the Trump Media Group got a big win against censorship in federal court. Tim Murtaugh has the latest. We'll cover the halls of Congress and even the congested roadways of New York this Friday. All next on the Matt Gaetz Show. Let's do this. We're shaking up Washington, D.C. We're breaking the fever.
You ever watch this guy on television? It's like a machine. He's great. Matt Gaetz.
Marks a historic moment in global affairs as President Trump takes a major step toward ending the war between Russia and Ukraine. Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky was at the White House today, and it was to sign a deal on rare earth minerals with the United States, and would have represented the United States getting some return on investment out of the $200 billion that has been spent in this conflict. Ukraine, in turn, would get a partner for peace. Russia would get an off-ramp. Our very own Daniel Baldwin was at this historic meeting, which he told us was must-see TV. Boy, was he right. Take a look.
I'm talking about the kind of diplomacy that's going to end the destruction of your country.
Yes, but if you are
Mr.
not
President,
strong...
Mr. President, with respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come into the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media. Right now, you guys are going around and forcing conscripts to the front lines because you have manpower problems. You should be thanking the President for trying to bring an end to this conflict.
Have you ever been to Ukraine that you say what problems we have?
I have been to.
Come once.
I've actually watched and seen the stories, and I know what happens is you bring people, you bring them on a propaganda tour, Mr. President. Do you disagree that you've had problems bringing people into your military?
We have problems.
And do you think that it's respectful to come to the Oval Office of the United States of America and attack the administration that is trying to prevent the destruction of your country?
A lot of questions. Let's start from the beginning.
Sure.
First of all, during the war, everybody has problems, even you, but you have nice ocean and don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless.
You don't
God
know
bless.
That.
You will not have a war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because
I'm
you're in no
answering on
position
this
to
question.
dictate that.
That's
Remember
exactly
this.
what
I'm not
You're in
dictating.
no position to dictate what we're going to feel. We're going to feel very good.
You will feel influence.
We're going to feel very good and very strong.
You will feel influence.
You're right now not in a very good position. You've allowed yourself to be in a very bad position, and he happens to be right about it.
From the very beginning of the war.
You're not in a good position. You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having
I'm not playing
cards.
cards.
But right now, you don't.
I'm
Yeah,
very
you're playing
serious,
cards.
Mr. President.
You're
I'm
playing
very
cards.
serious.
You're gambling
I'm
with the
president
lives
in
of
war.
millions of people.
You think-
You're gambling with World War III.
What are you
You're
thinking
gambling
about?
with
What are you
World
thinking
War
about?
III. And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country. It's
with
back
all
to you.
respect to your
Far
country.
more than a lot of people said
very
they
respect.
should have.
Have you said thank you once?
A lot of
Meeting?
times.
No, in this
Even
entire meeting,
today.
have you said thank
Even
you?
today.
You went to Pennsylvania and campaigned for the opposition in October. Offer some words of appreciation for the United States of America and the president who's trying to save your country.
Your country is in big trouble.
Can I
Wait a
answer?
minute. No,
Can
you've
I
done a lot
answer?
of talking. Your country is in big trouble.
I know.
You're not
I
winning.
know.
You're not winning this. You have a damn good chance of
we
coming
are
out
staying,
okay because of
Mr.
us.
President, we are staying in our country, staying strong from the very beginning of the war. We've been alone, and we are thankful. I said thanks
You haven't
in
been
this
alone.
cabinet,
You
and
haven't
not
been
only
alone.
in this cabinet.
We gave you, through
I
this
said thank
stupid
you.
president, $350 billion.
You voted
we gave
for
you
your
military
president.
equipment,
You
and you
voted
men
for
are
your
brave,
president.
but they had to use our military.
What about
if you didn't have
You
our
invited
military
me-
equipment,
you invited
if
me
you
to
didn't
speak-
have our military equipment, this war would have been over in 2 weeks. It's going to be a very hard thing to do business like this. I
Again,
tell you.
just say thank you.
I said a lot of times to American people.
Accept that there are disagreements, and let's go litigate those disagreements rather than trying to fight it out in the American media when you're wrong. We know that you're wrong.
But you see, I think it's good for the American people to see what's going on.
I understand, sir.
I think it's
I
very
understand.
important. That's why I kept this going so long. You have to be thankful. You don't have the
I'm
cards.
thankful.
You're buried there. You're People are dying.
tell you
You're
again,
running
I
low
know.
on soldiers. Listen,
Please,
you're running
Mr.
low on
President.
soldiers. It would be a damn good thing.
Mr.
And then you tell us, I don't want a ceasefire. I don't want a ceasefire. I want to go and I want this. Look, if you could get a ceasefire right now, I tell you, you take it so the bullets stop flying and your men stop getting killed.
Of course, we want to stop the war.
But you're saying you don't want a ceasefire.
But I said to you,
I want a ceasefire.
with guarantees.
Because you'll get a ceasefire faster than an agreement. This is going to be great television, I will say that. All right.
I have never seen anything like that. And let me just tell you, that's exactly what I voted for. There's nothing more 2025 than Donald Trump dog-walking that ungrateful, lying, little pipsqueak of a poorly dressed man in the Oval Office. Tonight, we thought we would check in on the perspective of Congresswoman Victoria Spartz. She represents an Indiana district and has really been an outspoken rebel against Republican leadership in the House of Representatives. She regularly defied and called out former House Speaker Kevin McCarthy. She serves on no committees and is an independent as much as one can be, not formally associated with the Republican caucus, though she is a Republican. Oftentimes she's expressed to me concerning views about how Republicans have been unwilling to confront the major challenges around our debt and deficit. She's also had an evolving view on the war in Ukraine. And if you see this trajectory and it tracks anyone you know, just think about that for a moment. So in March of 2022, she called the Russian invasion of Ukraine a genocide of the Ukrainian people by a crazy man. In July of that year, her tone changed and she criticized Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky for, quote, playing politics and theater, close quote, and not governing seriously. She had the courage to call out a Ukrainian official who was linking to Russia. She criticized the delayed appointment of a prosecutor to attack corruption within the Ukrainian government. By April of 2024, this person who had previously called the invasion a genocide, this Ukrainian-born Congresswoman, was voting against $60 billion in aid for Ukraine. I recall noting this as a remarkable shift at the time. This year, the Congresswoman has expressed hope that only President Trump can end this war. She's been very supportive of his efforts to do so, and she joins me now. Congresswoman Spartz, I have never seen anything like we just witnessed in the Oval Office with President Trump and Vice President Vance and President Zelensky. I'm dying to hear your reaction.
Well, thank you for having me, Matt. It's truly unbelievable. I mean, I don't even understand why would president of a foreign country insult the American people, and president of the country is the only hope to save them from complete destruction. It's such a disservice to the Ukrainian people to play hero in politics and trying to increase his rating that miserably failed in the country because he failed to defend his country. But doing that and just, it's not a theater, it's a real war, it's a real situation. I cannot believe it. But being so insulting to the American people after how much was done by us for Ukraine and for Europe, I cannot believe this. This is outrageous.
President Trump called the exchange disrespectful on the part of President Zelensky. Do you share that perspective?
Oh, listen, it's insulting, it's disrespectful, it's stupid from him, and I have no idea what he's trying to achieve except try to get reelected. But in Ukraine, where people don't trust him anymore, he betrayed the Ukrainian people, but he doesn't understand that if President Trump doesn't help, he might not have a country to get reelected. You know, this is really bad and sad for me to see that.
Yeah, I mean, might not have a country, and certainly the elections that were previously scheduled were called off when President Zelensky declared martial law. Are you confident that there even will be elections in Ukraine?
Well, listen, of course he wants to be, dictator there forever. He's taking his military, putting them in jail, anyone who can be political appointed, some of the best heroes. He prosecutes businesses, nonprofits, took control of the media. He's acting no better than Putin inside his own country. I was saying the Ukrainian people, can stop that war, but they might lose peace significantly if they continue electing bad leaders like him. But unfortunately, maybe fortunately, Ukrainian people were able to see that, and he had very low rate, and people were tired of that. So unfortunately for the people now of Ukraine, he's trying to figure out how he make his rating go up, because he was bashing all Republicans. President Trump was dragging us through mud with lies. Because, he liked Biden, who could have the slush funds that him and his friends can funnel the money. And, and now he's, went and campaigned in Pennsylvania for the other party, but on top of it now he's been very disrespectful. So I think, he's really doing something very bad. I mean, that is really what he's doing to the Ukrainian people and what they need. I think he's betraying again the Ukrainian people, not just being insulting to our people.
I really wanted you on the program today to discuss this minerals deal, because I was hopeful that a deal like that could have U.S. interests function as a real deterrent to further aggression from Vladimir Putin. But after this wild exchange in the Oval Office today, do you think that minerals deal will still be signed, and do you support it?
Well, listen, I think it's good for the Ukrainian people that there is American interest there. There is more likely that American people have an interest to defend their country, not to have Chinese interests there or Russian oligarchs that split in money with Ukrainian oligarchs. Matt, just think about it. We did a lot of sanctions. Europe did some sanctions, but Ukrainian government didn't do sanctions against Russian businesses. They're still making money and splitting the profits with friends of Zelensky. That's why he's so agitated, because these oligarchs actually making a lot of money, and that's who installed him. Now he wants to be an oligarch too. That's why he doesn't like it. It has nothing to do with the interests of the Ukrainian people, because it would be in their interest for Americans to be involved, not for some other countries. But that's not an interest of some of the corrupt friends that he has. That's why he's been so abrasive and been so rude and actually doing something that is not good for his country.
These are incredible claims you're making, Congresswoman. Are you saying that Zelensky actually wants to extend the war so that he and some of his cronies can benefit economically off of it?
Well, of course, and that's what they've been doing. They were not really trying to fight the war. They want to make sure that they have money coming from Europe and Americans, especially slush funds. And Biden was sending them with no oversight. And Zelensky himself was like, wasn't sure where all of the money, because Biden is, use that money for a lot of different reasons, not just to, to split with Ukraine. But I think this is very, it was very convenient for him. And unfortunately, our government been too corrupt. And you've seen recently what Elon brought some transparency to some of the programs, but it's actually even much worse than, that he is able to see yet. And I think when American people will see it, unfortunately, they'll be shocked. And Zelensky like all of that. And Europeans are even worse. They totally have no control what's going on and being very corrupt, and governments not serving their own countries too. So he likes it.
Well, with those dynamics at play, when do you believe the war will end?
Well, listen, I think, the war will end. This depends, on which conditions. But unfortunately, the more, Zelensky is trying to do damage to the Ukrainian people, and the worse is going to end it up. Because ultimately, President Trump, at this point, the only person who can push back on Putin, and have tried to deter Putin from demanding even more and more. Unfortunately, everyone was doing grandiose statement how evil Putin is, including Biden and Zelensky, but didn't get the country ready. Don't even have weapons to fight Russians. Russians even, have a lot of garbage, but they have quantities. They have their own problems, but they have quantities of garbage. These people have nothing. And then now they sent people to die from nothing on the front line. So President Trump is his only hope. But when he puts him in that position, he disrespects him. When he's acting like that, and it's not just insulting President Trump, you insulting the American people. That's problematic. They were doing a lot of things, dragging me through mud as American Congresswoman. They put like the different advertising, that billboards with my name and calling because I asked of oversight of aid that was sent to Ukraine, that I'm like pro Putin and Kremlin, asset and all this, that was disrespectful for the American Congresswoman, the American people that I represent, they send the money and weapons at least to stop Russia from going further. But now he's even coming after President of the United States. If you've seen all of the bad things he said about President Trump in Ukraine, in Europe, how much they're spending money, propaganda to bash us. I mean, this is unbelievable. And then they turn around and say we need to help them to stop Putin. I mean, I cannot believe what these people want. I don't think they really want to stop Putin. They won't continue this bloodshed. They won't continue money. But I think he will have to figure out where he's going to be getting. Maybe, stupid Europeans are going to be sending to him. If they're that stupid, that's, up to them.
Yeah, if they want to do that, I guess they're certainly welcome to. You have such unique insights on this, and I've had the benefit to see your work on the House Judiciary Committee, and you're against waste and corruption wherever you see it. You're against it if it's in Ukraine, you're against it if it's in the United States, and you've got a background in financial review that gives you a real skill set there. If you could give advice to President Trump right now about this minerals deal that is floating around, his desire that mirrors your and mine to end the war, what advice would you give President Trump?
To be as tough as you can with them. When I came to Ukraine, I understand who these people are. Actually, Zelensky and I are the same age. He was born in 1978. So we both grew up in the tough, wild 90s. And you see what's happened when socialism fall apart. You have criminal activity. I mean, this was pretty bad. And he grew up in very criminal areas. So I understand who these people are. And I was very tough on them. And I said, you know what? You can do whatever you want with your money and weapons, but with our money and weapons, we'll tell you what to do. And if you don't like it, you can go to hell. And I probably said even tougher word. But I'm just telling you, that's what President Trump needs to do. If they don't, want to listen what we have to say them, ultimately, that is our money, our weapons. We decide, we try to help you. And if you don't want to follow the rules, you can figure out on your own. But unfortunately, they destroyed the country. They robbed the Ukrainian people. They were not writing for anything. He gave everything to his oligarch friends with corruption, everything else. He betrayed his own people. It's sad for me to see, but I'll tell you one thing, Matt. We're paying high price with money for bad leaders, and we replace them. They paying Ukrainian people with blood. And it's a sad reality. Until they start electing better people, they will continue paying this high price.
Oh, that is such a stark warning, but I think really important information to internalize. Pivoting just to the budget for a moment, because I know that is a serious concern of yours. There was some false reporting that President Trump was on the phone with you in the congressional cloakroom, threatening you. You went on record and said that's not what happened. We shared that. What was the call like between you and President Trump on the budget deal?
Well, listen, Matt, I don't know how people could hear, like, you've been in this cloakroom. This has a phone booth. It's pretty hard even to hear what you have to say. Not someone having phone to my ear. I don't know how much you could scream to even hear that. I mean, this is the most ridiculous thing even to hear that, this is complete lies. I mean, the level of lies, unbelievable, But I'll tell you, I had a lot of interaction with President Trump. He's a very smart man. He's a very strong man, but he is a businessman and he cares about the country. And he knows that I care too. We always have very good conversations. I raise concerns with, what's happening in Congress, and he somewhat agrees with me, on these concerns, and he's willing to be a strong ally for the people, and I can be very strong ally for him to get things done. So we always have very productive conversations, and he listens. He's not like a typical politician. You say something, they don't even care. They have messaging, and they already listen whatever the staff says. No, he listens, he cares to listen, he pays attention, and he is not afraid to challenge machine of money. There are a lot of things like in healthcare. President Obama couldn't deliver. Biden, when was president, was calling money laundering operation, and they could get nothing done. President Trump is the only person who can challenge this machine of money and deliver for the people. He has mandate, responsibility, and he takes it seriously. So I'm very happy to have a ally like him, and I think he can help us to fix Congress, which is broken and corrupt, as you know.
Congresswoman Victoria Spartz with very powerful words for the presidents of multiple countries. Thank you so much for joining me on the program.
Thank you for having me. Always a pleasure, Matt.